Hey guys, so I thought I would just put on some new makeup or makeup that I've talked about recently that maybe I haven't featured fully in a video or whatever. Just basically put on some makeup with you guys. I really feel like kind of keeping it chill and low-key today. So I did want to start with the Pkwy Future Skin Gel Foundation. So this is the foundation that comes in a tub, and I did actually a dedicated video to this, but I had purchased the shade Chamomile, which was too warm for me. It was definitely too warm, a little bit too deep. So I decided to go with vanilla, and I wanted to try this on today all by itself. I got it in hopes that I could either use it by itself or that I could mix it with the chamomile and kind of see what happens. I am hoping I can wear this by itself because then I can return the chamomile and not have 2 jars of a foundation. So let's go ahead and open this up. I just mentioned this in my foundation roundup video, and if you guys have not checked that out, I'll leave a link to it down below in my description box. But this is what the foundation looks like. I am not the biggest fan of this jar situation. It's messy. It comes with a little cap that always gets stuck in the bigger cap. It's like a little plastic like topper, and it's just annoying, and they tell you should keep it. Anyway, not a fan of the packaging, but I'm gonna go ahead and swipe some on here. So vanilla is considered a neutral undertone, but it's very, very like peachy undertoned, where the chamomile was a warm undertone, had very yellow undertones. And I do think the vanilla is better than the chamomile, but it's still not great. Let's see, let's just put it on all over. Sometimes it's hard to tell until you get it all over the face. All right, and today is a new sponge day. I'm so excited. I have a new Sonia Kashuk sponge here that I just ordered off of Target. The sponge is definitely shearing it out, which is making like the color discrepancy not so bad, but I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit more on here, especially where I feel like I need a little bit more help. It's okay. I definitely get a really light coverage with it when I use a sponge. I'm just gonna put a little bit more around my eyes, where I definitely need more help and more coverage. Okay, this shade is definitely much, much better than the chamomile, and I think I can get away with just wearing this shade, especially if I apply it with a sponge. This really, really shears it out. I feel like I get a very light medium, and Pkwy actually claims this to be more of like a medium coverage, which I don't agree with. Even if I use a brush or just my fingers, I still don't feel like I get a very medium full coverage at all. I still feel like I get a light medium. Yeah, definitely much happier with this shade than the chamomile, so I'm glad I got this one, the vanilla. I don't have any new concealer, so I'm just going to use my Sisley Phyto-Lumiere, and I have it in the shade number 2. You guys are probably so sick of me using it, and quite honestly, I am a little bit too, but it's on my vanity and I just keep reaching for it. And it does a great job, especially when I use a light coverage foundation, so I'm just gonna keep going with it, you know? Why fix what's not broken? Is that the saying? Or don't fix what's not broken? Okay, and next for powder, I think I mentioned this in my favorites, yeah, and I use this maybe once or twice on camera, but this is the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra-Powder, not new at all. It's like one of their best sellers or whatever, and I love it. Now that I know how to use it, how it works for me, I absolutely love it. So I take just the littlest bit, like this is what I have in the cap, and I take just a little bit on a finger, and I just press it in underneath my eyes, and I get this beautiful, beautiful blurring effect. It's so, so good. So I have been loving this. And at the rate that I'm using it, I will never ever be done with this jar of powder, because look at how much is still left there. It's like you need the littlest amount. And I'm just gonna take whatever's remaining in this cap and just lightly brush it all over my face. I have learned with this powder, the less the better, for sure. Yeah, I feel like a little bit really goes a long way. Like my foundation feels set or whatever. I feel like my skin looks a little bit more mattified, but not too much. I am so glad I made friends with this powder because it has really been working out for me. So Kosas sent me this product. This is their Color and Light Pressed Powder Blush and Highlight. And I have it in Longitude 0, I think is the color that I have. They sent me Contra Chroma, and this looks absolutely beautiful. They also sent me like a cream version of this, and it was gorgeous. I already used that for you guys. So I thought I would try this one today. This is the one that looks very, very neutral. And I'm wondering if I can use this kind of as like a blush bronzer, kind of kill two birds with one stone. So I'm going to go ahead and use, should I use this brush? Is it too big? I think it's too big. I am going to use this brush. This is a Refer brush, and this is one of the brushes that if you were a supporter of theirs on Kickstarter, you could kind of like put in, I forget how much it was, maybe it was another $25, $30, $35 or whatever, and they would send you these special brushes that they were making, and this is one of them. So it's like a big fluffy face slash bronzer slash powder brush. It's just amazing, and I love it. It's really, really dense. So I'm going to try it with this guy here. And this blush, if I remember correctly, is very, very pigmented, at least the color that I have. And this brush picks up a lot of product. So I'm going to just pounce some off there and go in lightly. Ooh, I think that does work really nicely as like a bronzer blush. I'm going to add just a little bit more, maybe back here. And I'm just sweeping it like under my cheekbone, over my cheekbone, just all over. Lightly on my forehead here. Oh wow, I am so happy with this color. I think it's absolutely perfect for bronzer, for blush, for both, for little like bronzing on the forehead. I brushed it across my nose too. I think it looks really, really nice. And it has a really nice kind of satin finish. It's not very shimmery at all. It's just not matte. It's not very flat looking, and I love that. I was going to throw this highlighter on, but I actually have a highlighter from Melt Cosmetics that I wanted to try. I think I used the Stargazer with you guys. That was the other Melt Cosmetics highlighter that I purchased during the Sephora VIB sale, and that one was like an existing highlighter from the line. This is the one that's newer. It's called Morning Star, and I think it's a little bit light for my skin tone, but it has like a peachy champagne undertone, which I think may work. So I have really high hopes for this. I really like the other Melt Cosmetics Stargazer highlighter, so I really wanted to try this. Okay, I'm going to use the Chikuhodo cheek brush, and I picked this one because it's a very, very soft brush. It has squirrel hair, so it's going to kind of leave a very light dusting of this because this is a very, very strong highlight. So I'm just going to brush that on lightly, and it's already pretty strong. Not that I mind, not that I mind. I really, really like the tone of this highlight. It's really pretty. You can really see how strong like the peach duochrome is. It's so pretty. Big, big fan of this Morning Star highlight. Let me give you a swatch of this actually. Isn't that pretty? Do you see that shift in there where it gets like kind of warm and then a little peachy? Oh, it's so beautiful. So far, a really big fan of these Melt highlighters, and Morning Star and Stargazer are two that I really, really love. Okay, next up I have eyebrows, and this is the Suku Framing Eyebrow Liquid Pen in the color 01 Khaki, and this is one of those like liquid pens with like a brush tip, and Glossier came out with like their Brow Flick, and I tried that, and not that I thought there was anything wrong with the Glossier, but I just find these pens a little bit difficult to use. It's just, you know, there's a little bit of a learning curve. They're not like my brow mascara that I love, the Fiber Brow Gel. They're not like, you know, a normal kind of crayon pencil. So I was a little bit shy. I've actually hauled this many, many months ago, and the Brow Flick experience I had kind of shied me away from this one, but I thought, you know what, I really need to practice. That's the only way I'm going to get used to these if I want to. So this is what the pen looks like. It has the khaki color on the cap. Oh, sometimes these have like a little shaker ball in there. I don't hear one in here. But here is the tip. I'm just going to draw some lines here, if I can do it in the viewfinder. So very, very faint. I feel like this is a little bit more faint than the Glossier Brow Flick, so maybe it's a little bit more mistake proof, which I need. So I'm going to start at the center of my brow here. Just kind of fill it in. I have like kind of sparse brows there. Not bad. I wonder if I'm just getting used to the idea of them, or this one is a little bit easier to use. I do find this to be a lot more faint and that I kind of have to go over the strokes a few more times, and I do think that makes it a little bit better. I think you don't want something really, really dark come out of a liquid pen for your eyebrow, at least not for me. Wow, what do you guys think? I don't think this was quite as bad as my Glossier Brow Flick attempt. I do think, yeah, that pen was much darker. So this was a lot easier, and I really like this khaki color. I mean, who would know that a green-based black would look better for my hair color? But I really, really like this pen. I'm so glad I tried it. Wow, I generally don't care about my eyebrows at all. You know, I throw that Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel in there. I feel like it thickens it. I feel like it keeps it in place. No big deal. But I like what this little pen did for my brows. I think they look kind of nice. Okay, now for eyeshadow. So I've got my Viseart Milieu palette here. This is their Neutral Mattes #2 palette. And this is a lovely follow-up to their Neutral Mattes #1, which I think it can actually be used on a very kind of like wide range of skin tones. But this is definitely much more deeper skin tone friendly. I think for medium towards the deeper end, this is great. Absolutely beautiful. I also have my Rowan eyeshadows. So I've been wearing actually the 52, the cooler one, quite a bit. And if you are curious as to how this looks on my eyes, I did wear this in my foundation roundup. I think that was the video. Yeah, my foundation roundup video, I wore it with this, and I actually wore it with the Cool Mattes Viseart palette. So today I'm going to pair the Milieu with the 75 degree eyeshadow palette from Rowan. We'll see what I can end up putting onto my lids, but I thought that this would be a much better match. So the 75 degree eyeshadow palette looks like this. It's much warmer, and here are the 4 shades in here. So all these shadows are like a cream to powder formula. Here are the 4 shadows in the quad, and they're all shimmery, and they're just beautiful, beautiful shadows. So I've worn this a couple of times, but I have worn the 52 degree one much more often, and what I have noticed in terms of wear is that they do crease a bit on me. I have like one fold in my eye. It's actually not very prominent now. When I get tired and at night, I have a much more prominent fold up here, and that's where it will crease. But I have not experienced any fallout, and I have been applying these shadows with my fingers. So that's been my experience, and like I said, I've used both palettes actually quite a bit. So I'm going to lay down some mattes just to kind of create a little bit of dimension before I go in with the Rowan palette. So I'm going to go into this lightest shade over here first. I've got my Esom G34 brush, and I'm going to just start the outer corner here and build into like my socket line area. I'm going to go into this deeper shade over here, the second one down in this last column, and I'm going to use my Esom S33 brush and continue to deepen up the outer corner of my eye. Okay, now I'm going to move over into the Rowan palette. I'm going to use this warmest shade down here, and I'm just going to take my first finger, just going to tap this onto the center of my lid. So there is that down onto the center of my lid. So glittery and reflective. It's so exciting looking. I'm gonna go into this shade here and put this onto the inner portion of my lid. And I completely fat fingered that, so I have some down here. It's not fallout, it's just that my finger kind of just touched like the inner portion of my lower lash line. I'm gonna take that first Esom brush that I have. This is the G34, and I'm just gonna glide that over the top here just to kind of blend all of those glitters and pigments together. These still have a very nice kind of creamy feel on the lid, so they're kind of easily malleable if you want to kind of blend them out a little bit more. They don't like completely set down, which is also why I think they crease a little bit. But I think they're just really easy to work with. And then finally, I'm going to take my T05 Esom brush and go into this dark matte brown shade and just line my eyes with that. All right, I just threw on some of the Tom Ford Lash Raise mascara, nothing new there, and done with the eyes. I really am enjoying these Rowan shadows. I was a little bit nervous, you know, thinking it's a quad of not just shimmers, but a quad of like cream to powder, micro glittery shades. And I kept thinking, you know, how often am I going to use shadows like that? apparently a lot. I've really been reaching for them quite a bit. I feel like they're a great pairing for like an all matte palette if you just want to add a little bit of something there. They're great. They're perfect. I love that I don't get any fallout from them. And I do feel like if I put down like a nice layer of matte shadow underneath, that they are less likely to crease, or they crease less, I should say, but they still do crease a bit. And when I have used them by themselves, like when I just placed them onto my naked lid, they definitely creased a little bit more than when I had some like powder shadow down. So I just wanted to mention that. But I think they're lovely. They're lovely, and they're so easy to use. And you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of using my fingers to apply things, but I have to say this like creamy formula, it's actually a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to use my fingers. So that's the Rowan eyeshadow palette, the 75 degree one, the warmer toned one, and I like them both. Oh, I didn't get a chance to use the Summer Disco. I feel like I have enough shimmer down. This would just kind of be lost. So I'll use this in another video. And then last but not least, this is the Chanel crayon that I hauled from New York City, and I have not used it. I haven't used it for you guys yet. And this is in the color number 22, Natural Brown. What's the actual name? Jumbo Longwear Lip Crayon. And being that this is just like a straight up brown color, and I have an orangey eye down, I figured, you know what? I'm ready for fall. This is going to be ready for fall. So I figure let's just do it. I've got my Sisley Perfect Lip Liner in Chocolat, and I'm going to use this. I think this is a good match for that brown. Okay, lips are lined. Let's go ahead and apply this Chanel crayon. This brown is much cooler toned than the pencil. The pencil has a bit of red in there, but I think hopefully it'll blend together nicely. Wow, that is like an instant grunge look. I happen to really enjoy a grunge lip. I love brown lips. I know it's not for everyone. I know it makes me look very pale and probably pretty gaunt, but I love it. I really love it. Probably because I was in college in the 90s when this was really big, and I couldn't wear lipstick because of my eczema. I had it really bad on my upper lip. So now I feel like I'm making up for lost time. All right, so there is some new makeup to me that finally I'm able to show you guys in action. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. I always appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.